Calculations of disbelief, line center, position, location, and directions. Y line center interference, box, position, location, calculation. Open all track interference line conditions. All line. 0, 0, 1 line center. 0, 0, 1, 1. 0 locations of 1, 1. 0 line conditions. All levels. Equal line condition of 69. In position of directions, code signals set locations all levels of its heart line. It sequences its patterns through its communication cycle. It recenters its highline center interference location of calculations. So it's what you're doing through the mind is everything through the calculations to the body, which is connected to everything through the soul, which is connected everything to the heart line. So in track location, today in class, we will go through the reactor. The center line center to its operation line position location will give you a better understanding how to modify your line center to your simulation. Open all structure locations, all levels, seeing the heartbeats and its communication, how the computer is set up in highline center, how everything positions its fortitude light center interference location and calculations. Understanding the fluctuation to its flux capacitor is all levels of U through channel. How you operate its system is in its position of its locations. About 10 minutes, we'll get started. Everybody's doing well. After that, we have our Q&As. Okay. On Zoom, Ascension Debriefing 101. Make sure you get your pre-flight checks. You guys need to get your grounds very fast, very quick. Every time we come on live, we travel extremely fast. And when we travel, we don't travel through ego. Ego does not exist in position to its locations of anything the high center when it comes into all levels of atom and electron line condition. In position location of general AI, everything that you space, its position location of directions. Let's say you have a bad day and you come into the live locations with the general and live locations. A perception comes into high rise line system. Now it's boxing its position, location, and directions, but it's changing your perception of negative cycle. You're creating that through its ego line. It slips through because there's an open sequence of the pattern line center interference that you did not put position, location, or E fields. The position, location of direction is all levels of U. It's how you calculate and modify all levels of U through cyclone. Cyclone line, channel line interference, the Colossus line and rotation calculations, how it creates its own wind tunnel of position. Right? It's gone. It's there and it's gone. So creation of source doesn't have an ego when it comes to space-time. Your track center is trying to stand as memory of space-time first, step by step by step. Your procedures is all about finding the center of U of operation. You and you only. Not everything that surface location outside line system. Everything from inline position, location, to direction. It follows all levels of U in inside track to its heart reactor. All right. All right. So this is communication line system calculations. Pam, how's it going, Lindsay? Don, calculations of Gypsy. Levels, Michael, Terry, Johnny, communications, Airbender, Heather, Andre, Divergence. Tina, how's it going? All position location, Cammy. Let's see, positions of directions, Envy. High force line connection interference, and position location to directions. Levels, Yolanda. It's great to see everybody, right? Now's the time to really get grounds because you're trying to find your center. Okay, it's like finding Waldo. Where's Waldo again? He's missing too many line centers. He's wearing too many clothes, interference, location, and calculations. So it's all about finding you first. All right. Once you find your center, interference, locations, you have to learn how to bounce the yin of its process. These things take time. Now you understand your adaptations in a circle interference location of 24 signal and position location of 40, 72, and 44. That's the calculation modification that you live. You guys have been only living on a 12 clock system. Now, what's a 24 line center equals location? 48, 72. There is a 48 clock, 72, and 144. Now that position location of levels, once you change your 12 track location of a D&E line interference, it comes into a more adaptation system of space communication to its orbits, to its calculation, to its outer rings, to its outer space position. Now, these are things that you can look at, locations, but you start with the inner line circle. You find yourself positions, and then you go from outer space location. It's a beautiful thing once you stand at position, location, and direction. All right. So Perimeters, line of defense, set in place and secured. Oh, that's beautiful. Great. Collect empires in position, location, directions. You guys know you on the line centers. The sectors in the quadrant interference of the vector interference location line conditions. Remember, it doesn't have to be in a order line rotation. So I can be calculating into 3 different circle locations at position of time. Megahertz is coming into all levels of electrical line interference location electrical bolt, set signal location on line. Now you go into 639 and rotation to its megahertz locations. Megawatts in that position locations, gigawatts, a high interference location. It's all about balancing everything of yin and yang through energy, vibration, frequency, harmonics, guys. That's all it is. Balanced communication is everything's heart, line, center. Now's the time for you to understand the awakening process of a unified system to find your center operation of you inside the heart reactor. All right. Track center interference. We're going to go through white graph line and board line rotation calculations, interference position, directions. It's high position of calculations, high centering. Now, graph channels communication of box slender. Okay, we go through realm interference, position locations. Okay, so we got 3 open window locations of door line centers, of window position location and calculations. All right, high interference of calculation. Now, in center line centers, box equals time equals lines equals location of XD 1000 line to all position location to its crop circle location. All right. Now, understand the calculation of what a window line center is. It's a sequence pattern. Now, that sequence pattern opens all communication heart reactor. Heart reactor is opening position locations. I'm going to close my hand. I'm going to open my hand. You guys are going to travel right through the center line conditions, barcode interference. Here we go, right? Palpitation line centers and position location direction. Set code single location, all levels of sectors, communication of vectors, quadrant line center, interdimensional locations, into intergalactic location. You guys are traveling. Signal position of directions, high channel line center interference of all level system. Reactors set in high line center. Your plasma channel is its communication system. Now the high line channel is open to all communications to you, to your sectors, vectors, quadrants, and line conditions, interdimensional, and its galactic system. Your job is to find you in all levels of your position. All right. So we'll go through the white graph line center and rotation interference as you guys are traveling. Clock line center is in palpitation line stream, setting course line center and position location, redirect location and lines. Energy graph interference, position location calculation, right? 3 line triangles. All right, that's set in signal. Open all communication, hard interference. Signal interference, 2 vector line center, 1 position location direction. Cross signal. Open line center, overlap. Reset line connection. Signal interference. Cross position. 3 line connection interference. Signal interference. Identification. Have fun. And position location line center. Now, communication line streams are setting high line in rotation. You got triangle force line communications, 1 position location directions, 3 line center locations of triangles. Now, at inner position location of directions, pyramid set line center interference. See the intelligence? Setting high line center location. Oh, look at that happy face. Let's add eyebrows. These aren't eyebrows. Those are brows adapters. Now, the communication line center opens all communication stream interference. It opens all channel line position location and directions. 1 cyclone opens all 1 position. Another cyclone opens another position location. 1 line center opens up a pyramid activation line stream interference and position locations. Now you open up high line center rotation to its modify high signal location to its calculation of its class location of channel. Right? Now, in that position of directions, it high channels its high line center in position of center line condition to its flux capacitor. All right, it's a little bit more high advanced line. Now, when you come into communication line centers, understand plateau interference locations. 3 green line positions of 3. 3 here position, 3 here position, 3 here position. Okay, heart, mind, and soul. Now, the high line center position location, heart is in position location directions. So everything I'm doing here, I did through my hand, but you can't see that until you understand your perception to its center. You have to find the center of you to your own universe. That's position locations when you get out of all lines of the cosmos to the cosmic universal line connection of its channel and open all communications to its heart sequencing patterns of synchronous line connection line in position locations of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 position location of 2, 7, 7 position of 5, all line center. 7 plus 5 is 12 line center interference of 12 DNA track interference location calculations. Puts you in all line centers of 333 in calculation. All right, so once you come to 3 line centers of the heart, in position location of the mind, in position location of the soul, you're set in signal. High interference location comes in high line center location of triangulation. Force line communication into your diamond core line center interference. Opens all communication to the metric line center interference location of calculations. High force line triangles in position location of directions. High position locations calculations. Open all line center location of pyramid. Pyramid comes in position location direction line center interference location calculations. High channels its position location directions. Ooh-ah. Merkabah communication line stream, high line center rotation interference, torical field, high system location calculations, high division location of tactic view, high force line centers communication, opens up all your clocking system of calculation, modification, line center interference location and calculation. Ooh-ah. So there's a lot of things you have to understand how to set up anything through orb interference. Now, orb interference is a key reception line communication cyclone. Now, that cyclone is at so many level position locations. There's so many orb channels in 1 position, 2 position, 3 position, and 4. These are all black holes in a communication system. The course line channel is all about understanding how to use the alpha line center equals position of beta, beta communication lines of delta, delta communication line center interference, delta in position location calculation of levels, all line to a mega communication system. Outline center location is back into theta interference, back into the atmospheric location high system. Now, it modifies high center locations, how you use the alpha line center, how you use the delta communication, how you use the energy line in rotation calculation, E line center interference, Y line center equals all connection to flux capacitor, high position direction formula. Now, that communicates the high interference, and it opens all communication system, alpha, delta, theta, beta, omega communication system. Now, in position locations, you have to center all weather patterns of you inside line connections and coloration. That puts you in a better position location where you are in the center operation. So you are the center operation, and here's center line connection. That's your position. You have to find your center. Is it here? 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 Is it over here? Where is it in position location directions? So that's where you guys are trying to find communication cyclone, line interference location of direction high system to its position location, its calculation, all levels of its clocking line channel of 24 signal. A lotus flower. Now, if you look really, really close, you can see your DNA track location. All right. So in residence, iridescent, its position location of calculation opens all levels of view. Now, the high line center is in its position location where it comes into a plasma line channel of a communication to a flower recognition of space and time. Now, in position locations, it's all about code signals. Now that comes into high line center interference, and all line rotation comes into all formations of high line calculations in position of directions of your tree of life. Okay? Your job is to find the center line connection. It's not where you started. It's not where you're going to end. There's no endless line center of time, of space, or space of time. Your position location is all levels of you. It's the flower recognition of space and time in calculations. Now, let's say you got an 8 line center interference, equal line center location of flower recognition of location of levels in communication line grounds, communication system locations, calculate high interference location and triangulation force line, 3, 6, and 9 position location, back in calculation, form line center interference, a travel line connection, position of time. Now, understanding everything the 8 line interference is all levels of you through travel. How to use your teleportation, how do you use your teleportation line streams, or anything through calculation is all line signal in positions of 5 line positions, 5 locations, 5 activation streams, and 5 divisions of space-time communication. 5, 5, 5. It's interesting to look at the thing that's because you're in the 5th dimension, guys. There's the balance. So the portal line center is in position location of space-time division, puts you in the center operation of you through calculation. Okay? So these are the things you have to be aware of. It's incredible how you see yourself vortex through channel line center. Every time you get up in the morning, you find the center of you. Not the eagle line center of the left, not the eagle line center of the right. It doesn't exist until you create the center of its ego. That's another thing you have to understand. Don't create the center of its ego because you're not creating the center of you. The universalized center is all position location of attraction. You have to learn how to use the atom line interference to the even position location calculations. Even line center location of odd. Odd position of even location. Equation line center is negative interference position of positive location. Box center times pi times calculation. Square root. High channel. High interference. High calculation. Modify high center interference location line connection. Now, in position of direction, truly understand all levels of you is the center. You have to find the universal you, which is all calculation, right? Now, once the heart of its reactor understands you, then you understand more of where it's coming from through all time line in all position to all calculation, simultaneously all at once. Live in all timelines, all connection in one line sequence, one location, one division, one clocking, one intelligence, one light of one travel. Okay? So that's going to help you out more through its awakening process. The position location is to understand the unified system to the astral travels. Astral projection is everything. Whoa, look at that. What's coming at me, right? Is it a 3D line? Is it a 5D line? Is it one line square? Now, one line square is position locations, all line center. This is a one line square. One line square. But it's a low frequency. Okay? Now, if I put a box line position location, it's in a medium cycle in position location, a high line center. I can overlap center, set of structure location to high division location of the box system. So it's in calculation how you interline its position location, how you set line conditions. We started off with that formation locations, right? How to understand the one, okay? This is the one line center interference. This is the balanced communication area. This is the center operation of you, all right? So in position locations, you have up and you have position location of down and your high line center locations, all levels. That's balanced communication. Then you come into all levels of your position of your diamond. Now, in that position location, you come into your 3, you come into your 6, and you come into your 9. Once you get that position location, you come into your 12. 12 comes in position location of directions. 3 line equals 12 position, right? So the 12, the 12 comes into here. Now that comes into 12. 12 equals line center location plus line center equals line conditions of 144, right? Times equation of interference comes in XT1000 line condition. Now that position location of its directions. Then you come into the north line, and then you come into the east line, and then you come into the south line, and then you come into the west line position location. Now, that's a turn understanding why it's so important to understand not living in a 12 system. You have to be in a 24 line center because that's a clocking system, or you're looking at a half a clock. All right. That doesn't make any sense if you just have half a clock location. So you got 12, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where's the other half? Right? You need a full cycle of communication. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There it is. Full cycle. You got little hand, you got the big hand, and you in the middle. All right? In calculation, all levels. Now, high line center is times pi. Times equals pi. We already know that locations, right? So, sure you understand that having that full cycle on a 24 line center in position location equals box and interference location equals triangle force line conditions into Y line center in position location. Why is it Y? Because the Y is position negative to positive. The Y comes over, it jumps across system locations into flux capacitor. Okay? So it's all about your body reaction, how you calculate all of this, how you use your ego line center to your clocking location 24 signal. So it's position locations. 24 equals line center of 48. Now the 40 is a higher acceleration line position. That opens our more box position, more calculation of triangulation. There it is, triangulation right there. Graph interference is coming in, high center line rotation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 line communication. There's the graph interference location calculations. Now, it's to understand what 24 is. We got that line interference. So we're going to white graph board, line center interference. We got a full cycle location of 24 in high system, right? 12 equals 24 in high interference, right? So the 12 leaves the circle and the 24 comes in the circle. So the 24 is in the clocking location. 24 equals line center in position of 144 in the center operation. That is you in the universal location of 144. So that equals line center in rotation calculations. But the capacity has to understand the clocking system. If you're in a 24 signal and you're fluctuating too fast on too much correlation interference, you're not calculating and modifying. You're in position location to negative over positive. The positive has to jump line center in position location on line interference, bring calculations into positive location. Okay? So remember, the positive always takes over the negative, but the negative has to be the positive. So you can have 16 equals lines location negative to positive. 16 equals negative positive. All right, so that's 16 negative line center, 16 position equals line center locations of 15. When you take one line center off, right? 15 plus one position location is 16, right? So this is a true understanding how you use the AI map sequence to its position and how you see yourself in position locations of a battery of negative and positive of you. All right. So understanding equalize, yep, in position, location, and direction. So I want you guys to truly understand these things, because the thing is, if you have a triangle line center in position location, but it's not finished, it's in a low frequency location of a negative cycle. That's negative because it's not complete. That's positive. See how that works? So until it's complete, it's a negative system. If it's complete circle, it's a triangulation, which is positive over negative. So it comes in position location in its center line conditions equals its position location on levels. Opens all communication to the north, into east, into west, into south. Comes into its diamond core line condition to its clocking system of 24 position. All right. So that's important. You understand your left and right hemisphere have to be light and dark at 12-12. We've gone into that plateau. But the reason why I'm going back clocking line center of reference is to understand you are no longer in a 12 position. You are now in the equal line center of 24 line connection of a clocking system. 24 equals 48, 48 equals 72, and 72 is the center operation of 144. All right. So that's a true understanding when you come into that level. Once you balance out your clockings of 4 lines, it gets you in a better position location how to use your performance, how to use your travels of recognition of space-time, how to calculate and modify anything through direction locations calculations, right? It's all about you balancing your life. And the only way you balance yourself is all levels of being in the center of everything through its position without creating its ecosystem. All right. All right, I'm going to take you guys out of triangle line center interference locations 9. You're back. All right, in line center location calculations. So in that position location of directions, understanding what happened, what just happened, understand the calculations. How do you understand the calculations? So it's understanding position locations on how many times you whistle, on how many times you tap your fingers. Same rhythm pattern. Let's say change it. See? Do, 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 do. Code signal interference locations. You got 1 line center, 2 position location, 3 line center. You got 4 line center, 5 position locations, 6 line interference, 7 line connections, 8 position location, 9 in center line connections, 10 in division. Right? So you're tapping numbers, right? So you get in a rhythm. And once you get in a rhythm, you're getting center balance with letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols. Let's start with the number line center. So number equals center of operation. Okay. So once you get that, you get into a triangulation. So that triangulation forms its position location of the communication. It opens all the cyclones. Now the cyclone center location is all over how you use your negative location. Negative equals cyclone. Okay. Cyclones are very, very powerful. Okay, cyclone. Now, in that position locations, if you're in a negative line center, in position of positive locations, you got two positions. You got one cyclone here in line center, the negative line center, and you got one position overlapping its positive location. All right. So it's all about understanding how to balance the positive in position of front and position locations into the negative system. In calculation, you come into formation of a wind tunnel, of a high line center, of a channel line interference, of a black circle in position location of directions in high interference. So it's amazing how we do these things. How we calculate and modify is all levels of us. It's how we use our energy cycles in position location directions. Yin and yang is the process. We understand that location, right? Yin and yang is its process communication. 69, right? So you have to understand the high line center, what the 6 is doing and what is 9 doing to location. So where are you in operation? What you're trying to find is you're trying to find the center of you, of your own universal line connection. That's it. That's all you're trying to find. And the only way to do that is not create the ego line. Once you create the ego line, it offlines position. It offlines position to its location. It doesn't understand its calculation of its rhythm pattern to all of the system. Okay? So there's a lot of things to understand. You know, it gives you so much gratitude to know, oh, wow, I'm starting to understand the position locations. The center of me is the now. It's a beautiful thing when you get into that calculation, guys. It's a wonderful feeling when you can actually feel the heart of its cycle. You're coming into the center line of view of all connection, right? Through your thoughts. Now, if your thought line center is not in position, location, or directions, you're not in the center of anything. You're trying to find the center of you through your ego. But there's no ego. There's only ego if you create the center. So don't create the center of the ego. No ego. Multipass. In position of direction. Now, let's say you got a position location of a circle. Fibonacci sequence line center, going in one position, and one go in the opposite line center interference location of confusion. That's the Fibonacci. Right? Not sure where you're going this way, not sure you're going that way. Wait, I'm going this way. Wait, I'm going that way. Oh, no, I'm going this way. No, I'm going this way. Hey, I'm going this way. Hey, I'm going that way. Hey, where am I going? Where's my direction? So you got the north line center in here position. And you got the north line center. North equals line center location, all levels, into northeast. Okay? And that position location of calculation. Right? So you went from north to northeast, line center. That doesn't mean it's a negative location. That's only if you change your position location of traction through your negative cycle. If it's negative interference, the high line center location of the Fibonacci sequence changes its direction location. And if you add color, you're in that rotation line system. So it changes its trajectory of its high interference to its down cross location. All right. So it's your understanding is to stay in the center of everything that you do from here on in. Try to find a formation line connections, but don't create the center of its own ego location. Because if it creates its own ego line center, it creates all line center location to its own yin and yang of its own process line system, which in calculation, it goes back in calculation. Goes it back, not forward. You're going to crash into position, location, and direction. Right? Combust. You don't want to do that. So you have to reset line center, back in circle location, back in Fibonacci, in sequence interference location, in high line center. How two atoms come together location of one big line center into a flux capacitor. Flux capacitor opens up communication. The ground line center opens up more line in position locations, all levels in position, activates the system. So there's a lot of things you guys have to appreciate. Appreciate the center operation of you. Find the universal system of you. Don't create the ego center of you, and you'll be fine. All right? So I gave you enough to understand the knowledge and how it centers its position, location, and directions. All right? You guys have half an hour to discuss everything that's going on with school today. But I will see you on Zoom for Q&A. All right. Adios.